Kyle Snyder does not win bronze at the Paris Olympic Games 2024 and does not make history, becoming the second man to win more than 2 medals at Olympic Games for wrestling. Just can't beat Azapara. Just can't beat him. I mean, this is a guy that Azapara beat Kyle Snyder the last time they wrestled, and then the time before that, Kyle Snyder won 2-2 criteria. It was a very, very narrow win. This is a guy in Azapara that Flow Wrestling were very afraid for Kyle Snyder to get round one, obviously. Was the guy I mentioned in my original Kyle Snyder video for being prevent threats here for Kyle Snyder if he has to see him very early in his tournament. Ultimately, he saw him in the bronze medal match, and it was a very bizarre match. I mean, it's just one of those wrestling matches that like makes the whole day go so much longer. It was just like a 15-minute match with blood time. Those are the worst types of matches in wrestling. Kyle Snyder had a cut in his head, and they didn't want to wrap it the first couple times. They just kept patting it down, which allowed Azapara to catch his breath, get his momentum back when he was seen to look fatigued or was starting to get fatigued, and it allowed him to get a lot of rest and recover pretty much every time. Like Jordan Burroughs said, this is the worst for Kyle Snyder because he's wrestling in 15-second intervals right now, and that's not really how Kyle Snyder wants to operate, especially against a guy like Azapara. Ultimately, they ended up wrapping Kyle Snyder's head, and he just ended up falling short. He just couldn't get to the legs, and it was a big thing this Olympics for me is what I realized is that the wrestlers on the U.S. just couldn't get to the legs when it mattered most. Spencer Lee couldn't in the finals. Mason Paris really couldn't in his opening match. Zane Rutherford couldn't in his opening match. Kyle Snyder couldn't in the bronze medal match. And I get it. We got 6 medals, which is more than we usually get, but it felt so disappointing this Olympics the whole time. And I'll probably make a whole video maybe tomorrow about a full recap of everyone in the U.S., probably every weight class. Just do a whole full recap. But so stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see that and you want to get notifications for when that comes out. You can hit the little bell. I promise you there's something on this channel that you are going to like, and you guys have been popping off from these wrestling videos, so I thank you. But Kyle Snyder, 9 years in a row, medaled in a world championship or an Olympic game. 9 years in a row. And he's only 28 years old. This man's going to have another shot to get the third medal. I hope so. I think there's a real chance we might see like an Aaron Brooks be at 97, as Chris Powell's Flow Wrestling saying that we'll never see him at 86 kg again, which means he has no choice but go to a 97 for the Olympics, which they're saying maybe Kyle Snyder could potentially bump to heavyweight. We'll see for the next Olympics. I think he'll get another chance, which will be really good for him, give him redemption. But 9 years in a row, there's not many people that have done that. 9 years in a row, getting a world medal or an Olympic medal is something very difficult. And I think him not getting a medal at this Olympics shows how hard it is to do what he did, to do 9 straight years of no faults, no tough matches. It's only 6 minutes, right? It's very, very, very tough, especially in wrestling. There's a lot of craziness, a lot of randomness, especially when you're wrestling the top guys in the world. But I thought he looked good. I thought he was going to win that match. And he just couldn't get to the legs. And that's ultimately the difference in the match. I don't know if the blood had something to do with it. It definitely helped Azapara. I don't know if it necessarily changed the way Kyle Snyder was wrestling. I know some guys get a little freaked out with blood. I don't think that would have happened with Kyle Snyder here, but I wonder if Kyle Snyder's disappointed by his performance. Like, I wonder what he thinks, and the fact that, does he think I made a lot of mistakes, I should have been better, I maybe should have even been in the gold medal match, or he's thinking, I wrestled my hardest, these guys were just better than me today, there's nothing I could have done, and they're walking away with a medal. I'm not. It happens. I have 9 of them. Doesn't really matter. Does he even know that he missed out on the second male Olympian to be 3 Olympic medals at wrestling? I don't know the answers to the questions, but these are all questions that I think the fans are going to want to know. Ultimately, he doesn't get the history when I thought was pretty positive he was going to get there. Loses to a guy that just has his number right now. We'll see what is next for Kyle Snyder. Hopefully we do see him at Olympic Games. He no longer has protection into the finals of the trials now. He has to run the gauntlet, the USA gauntlet, to get back, which shouldn't be too hard for him, but it's just more matches on a wear and tear, especially 4 years. This man's now going to be 32. I hope we see him back. Let's hope we see him back. And let's hope he gets that third medal and breaks history. Thank you guys so much. I'm Josh Rossi.